to be a woman?
Oh, wow, that is a very big question. It's funny because I didn't think about it for such a long time. I went to an all-girls school, and I really didn't think about being a woman until I was older, because I thought for such a long time your future is so preserved for you in your imagination, and I was always doing whatever I wanted to do. And it wasn't until I actually got to the point that I was imagining that I started to feel and push against limitations. And it was so funny that I felt like a person for a long time, and I think that I started to equate being a woman when I felt the limitations, which I had to work on and had to redefine, and finding the joy and the surprising things in my body, you know, about getting excited rather than afraid of the changes, you know, that happen, and that the idea that there's something luscious about being a woman. Does that make sense? Yeah. But I feel like that was the thing, is that I wanted to be a person first. And I still do. But although, I mean, it makes me think of Whitman, where the body is the soul. And I've been thinking about that a lot as I get older. So I think perhaps that I become more of a woman the older I get.
Were there moments when you begin to compare yourself to men?
I think it started when I was in college and was surprised to see professors call on men more. I had a really wonderful professor who admitted it, and he was the most wonderful person, and he was teaching us St. Joan at the time, and he said, I have a real problem with this play, and it's probably because I'm a man, and it's the same thing that probably makes it difficult to be a female student for me. And I thought that that was a wonderful thing for him to say, and actually really made me feel closer to him, that he was willing to talk about it. I feel like we all pretty much make each other feel good. You know, that we can all see the quality that is alluring in the other woman, or that's how I feel, you know. But then when you go in the room, it's the men, you can feel it, it just deadens immediately. You know, and I've found that, and I've loved working on sets with a lot of women. It feels really different. And I feel more that I'm interacting in terms of making a connection with people, and we're making each other laugh, or we're empathizing with each other more, where I feel like, not all men obviously, but on sets that have been dominated by men, I feel that I'm being feel a bit more like I'm pinned, like a butterfly, like an, you know, I'm being observed in a way as that thing. Can we make that thing do more of what we want it to do? When I think about it, I think feminist is mostly a political and an economic word. And I believe in terms of the equality, having equality as a political being, and equality as an earner, and the way that you're treated by the society. And the other feminism, which is the interactive, day-to-day kind of feminism, I think that that is a more fluid idea that changes all the time. But I think that in terms of political and economic equality, I'm a capital F feminist. I would love for people to make artistic and aesthetic and intellectual choices from themselves, and not for an imaginary audience. That I feel that individuals really have such a huge spectrum of what they find interesting and beautiful. But for some reason they don't trust that, and are constantly creating work for this other audience. There's always some other random group of people out there who want people to be prettier and less scary and not so smart and approachable. That might be the worst word, is the approachableness. And I think that's the one thing that I would want to change, is for people to trust all of their own weirdness that influences them, and to stop generating work for this group that I don't believe exists. curious how many people would say their own mother, but I think that's the person who I'm the most thankful to. She's been my role model my entire life. I think the idea of personhood was something that was very important to her, which is why she sent me to the all-girls school, I think, to be in an environment where women were the president and the headmistress is a woman, the head of everything is a woman, and so that I would live in a world where I really could believe that I could grow up to be president also. I just had a daughter. I just started reading this book called The Miracle of Girls. And the ones in girls are, they smile earlier, they make eye contact sooner, and all of that is leading towards creating family and creating community. And that being one of the things that's the most important for a girl, and as she grows into a woman, is focus on relationships and community. And relationships not just, with men, but, and so I think that's the main thing that I felt that I wanted to embrace, that those things that could be thought of as social anxiety or putting your attention in the wrong thing is actually that women create the fabric, and that's something that's hardwired, and that is that we should celebrate and encourage and nurture.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so funny.
I picked it because I feel like it matches.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in a really small way, I have a personal commitment to stop saying I'm sorry. I say I'm sorry all the time. Even before I've bumped into the person, when I think that we might bump into each other, I apologize and move away, and I have to stop doing that. And the other thing, because I just had a daughter, is I'm only going to look in the mirror and say, great. I want her to like what she sees, because I love what I see of her. And I really think that's something that you learn. I don't think that our relationship with what's in the mirror is real. It doesn't matter. I nominate as my Womanity ambassador my sister, Gina. Gina, for there is no friend like a sister in calm or stormy weather to cheer one on the tedious way. Just to catch my mustache.
And I certainly haven't been spreading myself around.